Anyway, Dale Vince is here, founder of Ecotricity. Piece in the Sun today by Sir Keir Starmer. I will not sacrifice great British industry to the drum-banging, finger-wagging climate extremists. Dale, very good morning to you. I think that's a bit rude, considering you've given him £5 million of your own money.
Well, I got a feeling what you said at the top of your show, Mike, that he said that about me. That's not true, is it?
Well, you are a drum-banging, finger-wagging climate extremist, aren't you?
So that's a yes. It's not true. He didn't say that, did he?
His quote is in the paper. He says that he wants to invest in the economy, and he says to those drum-banging, finger-wagging extremists, I say I will never sacrifice great British industry. I mean, you, by your own admission, you're a climate campaigner, aren't you?
No. Listen, you said at the top of your show that he said that about me, so I'm just being very clear here.
Well, that was a joke, Dale. That was a joke.
Damn! I left my sense of humour in bed. I got up too early.
You shouldn't take everything quite so seriously, for heaven's sake.
I can't help it.
It's a bit like when you...
I'm a drum-banging finger-wagger, right?
It's a bit like when you said to me last week when we spoke that, you know, you didn't know what they did with the £5 million that you gave them, and you don't care. I presume that was a joke as well, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, that was real?
No. We obviously misunderstand each other. By the way, them tins of paint, I think you meant to turn them back up the right way before you take the lid off. But you knew that, right?
Well, yeah, but how does the skin sink to the bottom then?
But it's already on the bottom. It's already on the bottom, isn't it? It's just that you changed the bottom from the top and the skin stays where it was.
Oh, I see. It doesn't float to the top?
No.
Oh, OK. I see, I've learned something already. Tell us about carbon capture. Is this something you're in favour of?
It's not. No, I'm not a fan of it. Actually.
I didn't think you were, you see. I wondered about that because I've heard Alex Salmond goes on about it a lot. He likes carbon capture. He's always said that's the answer to, you know, keeping everything going in the North Sea.
Alex Salmond.
And making sure, yeah, the head of the Alba Party, former First Minister of Scotland, you know, you shouldn't be too dismissive. He says that it's the answer for the future. And, of course, so now Keir Starmer says it's the answer. What are you going to tell him?
Well, I don't believe that it is the answer for the future. It's been talked about for 20 years or more. It's been in operation, I think, in Norway for like 30 years.
It has.
But it's not working. It's not working at scale commercially anywhere in the world. It's something that we have to pour money into, and that's my problem with it. The announcement yesterday was £22 billion, I think, over the next quarter of a century. Right. So roughly £1 billion a year, and I'm just not convinced.
No. Well, I mean, I'm told as well that about 20.5 of the billions of the 22 billions was already set aside by the Tory party. So it's actually, from Labour's perspective, they've only put about 1.7 billion in. But I just don't understand how all these jobs are going to be created. I mean, there's a very nice little graphic in the Sun today which shows how CO2 is separated before it's emitted and then buried in the ground. I mean, it doesn't sound like a great idea to me.
Well, I think one of the problems is, as I understand it, under the North Sea, I've read that we could store 78 trillion tons or billion tons, I don't know, the numbers get ridiculous, of carbon dioxide. But that sounds to me like a bit of a ticking time bomb for future generations. I mean, how do we know that stuff won't ever leak, that there won't be a problem in the tunnels and the pipes and the valves and that kind of stuff? I don't know. That worries me in the same way that nuclear waste worries me, although, of course, CO2 is slightly less toxic than nuclear waste, but incredibly harmful to the whole environment of the planet. So I think we just need to give up fossil fuels completely, not kid ourselves that we can remove CO2 and stick it in the ground economically. I think we can do it safely. It's whether we can do it economically. Yeah. And there are heavy industries that we can't simply replace the process with renewable energy for, and that is a problem of emissions. But I'm not convinced carbon capture
and this carbon capture is meant to be specifically for some of those heavy industries. They've got two projects that they're going to use, one in the northeast and one in sort of Merseyside, as far as I understand it. But I mean, the other problem with decarbonising and getting rid of all the fossil fuels is the cost in jobs and the cost to the economy. Because I was talking to an energy consultant just the last couple of hours ago, who said that there's about 100,000 jobs going in the North Sea because Ed Miliband has done away with all the licences for North Sea oil and gas exploration, so there's 100,000 people who are going to be out of work.
Yeah, just come back to the carbon capture and storage, Mike. One of the two projects going ahead is a new power station, so it's not about heavy industry, and that, I think, is is wrong. It claims to be a net zero gas-fired power station, but it isn't. They got their maths wrong. It's going to emit 30 million tons of CO2 every year, and that's currently under legal challenge, actually, by drum-banging, finger-waving environmentalists like me. So we'll see how that one goes.
Well, I mean, you said it. So here's the other thing, though.
No, you said it. I'll just play it along.
Yeah, the point about the gas as well is it's gas-fired, but the gas has to be imported now because we're not producing any. So it's actually a false saving, isn't it?
That's not true. Half the gas we use in our country, in the North Sea, half the gas we use in our country comes from the North Sea.
Yeah, but it's going to stop coming from the North Sea because we're not allowed to drill for it anymore.
It's eventually going to stop because the North Sea is running out. Do you know that there's only 10% of the North Sea left? Doesn't matter how much we drill, it's running out sometime soon.
Well, you can say 10% and make it sound like a small amount of gas, but I bet you that 10% would last a very long time. We also used to have storage units in the sea, didn't we, to store gas in until Tony Blair got rid of them.
And I think this is where the CO2 is going to go, actually.
What, into those tanks?
I think they're caverns.
Yeah.
I don't think they're actually tanks.
Like the sound of that. I don't think I'd fancy being on a ferry going to, you know, the Hague, and suddenly you go across a great big field of gas explosions. But there we are. Yeah. I mean, let's ask you a couple of other more specific questions. I mean, the Trousergate story still rumbles on. You know, you told us last week that you gave $5 million and you didn't care what they did with it. Keir Starmer's apparently decided that...
I didn't say that.
You said you didn't know what they did with it.
Yeah, not that I didn't care.
You said you didn't care. You did, actually. We can find a clip if you want.
All right, yeah, find a clip. That'd be great. But look, I know what they did with it. They won the election, and all the other details that you asked me about, I'm like, look, I don't care about that. Yeah, I know,
but I find that incredible, though, because when you look at, say, Lord Wahid Ali and what he's done, and there's questions now being asked about his many trips to Syria to see President Assad, the 3 months that he spent in Iraq after the war ended, possibly interfering with the election, you start to think, you know, this guy who everybody describes as a nice guy, he just wants Labour to do well. There's a bit more to him than that, isn't there?
Well, I think the election in Iraq was being set up by Western democracies, wasn't it? And I imagine he played a part in that.
That doesn't include campaigning.
Interfering.
Well, because he's been accused of interfering because he was campaigning on behalf of one particular candidate, right, who ended up not winning. So, he didn't interfere with it that much. But in the end, he was obviously bankrolling it.
Well, I don't know. That's like just putting two and two together from a long distance, isn't it? And from
but I mean, what I'm saying is, it's a kind of unusual thing for a former TV executive to be doing, isn't it? Who's in the House of Lords? He's suddenly, jetting around the world, talking to dictators and people who, fire chemical weapons at their own people.
I don't know anything about it. I think there's an incredible focus right now on Lord Ali. I have. There's incredible focus on him right now. And,
yeah, there is. And when was the last time you saw him?
It was a Labour conference.
Oh, yeah. He didn't like talking to journalists at Labour conference. You should have given him some advice, because you quite like talking to journalists. You don't mind. He should do the same, and then there would be a lot less heat on him.
Well, I mean, you might be right. It might be because he doesn't like talking to journalists that they really want to talk to him. I don't know. Right. But look, we're different people. I just come on here and talk to you about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Oh, this is what I want to talk about. Have you ever been to Downing Street since Keir Starmer's been Prime Minister?
I have.
And what did you go there for?
It was that party that's been reported about, that thank you party for all the people, not all the people, but a lot of the people that kind of helped, during the election.
And that was Lord Ali's party, wasn't it?
No, I think it was a number 10 party or a Labour party, a Keir Starmer party, I don't know.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Any good?
He was all right.
It was all right. Did you have any vegan finger food for you?
No, there was no vegan food, right? There was nothing.
You should have brought your own. And have
That's
you ever
the extent of my influence, right? That's the extent of my influence.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, I can see that, because he's now doing carbon capture, which you wouldn't have recommended to him. Have you ever been offered a pass to Downing Street?
No.
Would you take one?
No. No, I don't need one, do I? So it would be pointless.
Yeah, well, so you say. What about a peerage? Because your ex-wife seems to think you want one of them.
This is a horrible story that came out this week, wasn't it, from the High Court? I mean, this woman, I haven't spoken to her for years.
I thought you separated a long time ago, to be honest, without wishing to impinge on your personal life, because that's not what I do.
No.
But, it's in the news, so I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, it was about 3.5 years ago. I mean, it is 3.5 years ago. And this is a headline this is a claim just designed to make headlines. It's clickbait for journalists. It's a terrible thing to say. But really, where it comes from, Mike, is I was trying to make the divorce final after I think it was granted conditionally 2 years ago, which is a long time. I tried to make it final, and they objected on the basis that in January she thinks I might get an honour, not me. She thinks. And she wants the chance to call herself Lady Vince. And it's such a disgusting, grubby kind of approach. I can't understand it, but I knew it would make a lot of headlines.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that doesn't sound right to me, that somebody gets divorced and then they want to get a title from the person that they're getting divorced from. That seems a bit weird.
It's awful. It's all at the same time she's arguing that Labour should give the 5 million quid back, or I should pay it to her, because... she's all kinds of confused. She says the 5 million quid was about getting a peerage, and she wants the money back, and she wants a part of the title. I'm like, I can't make sense of that.
Yeah, that is all very strange. Finally, what's next then for Labour? I mean, they're in a pretty bad way at the moment. You know, Keir Starmer can't seem to get rid of this story. It's not going away, right? Every single time you think it's going to go away, he then comes out and decides, oh, I'm going to give some of the money back, as if that's going to make it go away. Made it worse.
No, I know. It's not good. I think it's a bit.
You didn't get any free Taylor Swift tickets, did you? Everybody else seems to have done.
No, I got no glasses either. So look, I think I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, but it's gone on a bit longer than that. But yeah,
because they keep fueling the fire. You know.
I know. Well, I don't think they fuel it, but I think you know, the media are all over this right now. They won't let it go, and I think it's hard for them to do the right thing. Actually, you know, Keir Starmer, he did declare those donations of clothes and glasses, and then he got criticised for declaring it late.
No,
he declared it late.
The second £16,000 he said was office costs, right? And so
I know. That's what I'm trying to say. He got criticised for doing it the wrong way. So he declared. So when he actually declared it, it was declared late, and it was a correction. And then he says he'll give the money back, and he's criticised for saying he'll give the money back. I mean, how can he win?
Well, he can't. Well, he should have not taken the stuff in the first place. That's how he wins. That's the easy way out, isn't it?
I mean, we can all see that with hindsight. With hindsight, we can see that, Mike. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, you should tell him that. You haven't got any carbon capture companies that are going to benefit from this, are you? There's 22 billion.
No.
Another mistake, then, you made.
Yeah.
What about the business breakfast? You can go and have business breakfast for 30 grand with Jonathan Reynolds.
Can you
get a free picture?
I didn't know that.
You can have breakfast with me for nothing, and I'll even give you some vegan food.
I think I wouldn't have time to eat that, Mikey. You just talk to me so much, I wouldn't have time to eat.
Well, what about beans? You would probably eat beans, right?
I love beans.
Do you store them upside down or not?
I don't think they get a skin on the top, actually, but I don't. Maybe they do.
Well, Heinz have started making beans with the labels upside down because they say that's the best way to store them.
No, you made that up.
I didn't. Seriously. Dale Vince, thank you very much indeed, founder of Ecotricity.